Hello and welcome to Talking Whiskey. My name is Grant and today we're going to be talking Wild Turkey. So Wild Turkey is made by Wild Turkey Distilling Company and they are owned by Campari Group. Now they are a Kentucky distillery doing typically straight Kentucky bourbons. Now their history of distilling goes back to 1855, but the actual name Wild Turkey and the brand name Wild Turkey first came about in 1940. Now they talk about having a hunt that they were doing at the time that they then called Wild Turkey, and thus the brand and name of Wild Turkey was born all the way back then. Now this is the Wild Turkey kind of base Wild Turkey. If we were in America, this would have a big 81 written on the bottle, and 81 being 81 proof, and proof being double ABV. So this is coming in at 40.5%. So let's get it poured. So on their website, they actually do give you a breakdown of the mash bill that they use. So they use 75% corn, they use 13% rye, and then they use 12% malted barley. Now, as always on my tasting videos, I'm going to do a minimum of 3 notes in the nose and a minimum of 3 notes in the taste. Let me know what you guys get in the comments down below. Let's see if we're alike on this one, or if I'm just wildly different from everyone else. But let's go for the nose. Oh. Do you know this is actually the first bourbon that I've done on the channel so far, so you know, I think this is a good start for bourbons. Oh, okay, so immediately you just get a big punch of that oak smell, that big woody effect. There's a bit of caramel in there as well. There's some toffee, kind of like not burnt, but like a cooked toffee, or you've just started to actually physically make toffee itself. Oh yeah. There's a, this might sound weird, there's a bit of peanut. Like just a plain dry roasted peanut. I know that sounds bizarre thinking about a whiskey, but no, it's genuinely there. But yeah, the big dominant note going on is that big oaky wood punch. And you know, there's a little bit of a cherry going on in there. Very subtle cherry. Now, I know I'm going to say this wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. Mashurano cherry. Mashurano cherry? Mashurano cherry. I know I'm saying it wrong. I know I always do. Which is basically like a sugared candy or sugared candy cherry. But yeah, big forefront of that wood going on. Then you got that caramel toffee, and there's that little bit of a peanut note in there, which is really bizarre. It's nice, but just bizarre. Right, let's go for a taste. That's a nice bourbon. So immediately on the taste, you've got that big forefront of the wood, that big oak effect going on. You've got a little bit of that kind of toffee note going on there as well in the background. Let's go back in. Oh yeah, so forefront is the wood, absolutely, 100%. Then that kind of toffee note kicks in, kind of comes in a little bit. The cherry's actually kind of really died off a bit. I'm not getting a lot of it. I'm getting a little bit of kind of like a sweet vanilla, like an artificial vanilla on the back end of it. The peanut is still there. It's become a little bit more subtle than it was on the nose, but it's still there. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, now I'm acclimatizing to it a little bit more. That vanilla's coming out a bit more. Do you know what it's like? It's like the artificial, it's kind of like the vanilla flavor you get in vanilla ice cream. Just take out all the creaminess of it, just that vanilla itself. This is a good bourbon. I enjoy this one. Do you know what I just got there? Like a really subtle coconut. Like a fresh coconut that you've just opened and you've just scraped out a little bit. You know how sometimes it can be a wee bit dry. Got like real, hang on, I need to go back. Yeah, tiny bit of coconut in there as well. Not had that before, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, in all that bottle, I've not picked out coconut before. That's interesting. And now I've said it, now I'm getting it on the nose as well. Right, let's add some water to it and see what happens when we put a drop of water in it. So I'm only going to do a wee bit, as always. Like that, that'll do. Now whilst we let that sit, I'm going to have to mention it. So back in 2016, I'm sure some of you may know, Matthew McConaughey managed to do an amazing ad campaign with Wild Turkey. Now, as tempted as I am to do the impression, I'm not going to do it, so don't worry. But when they did that, that kind of helped give them a real big boost, because, you know, it's Matthew McConaughey. So, I mean, come on, it's brilliant. Right, now we've given that a little bit of time to rest with the water. Let's go in back on the nose and see what's happened. Ooh. Ooh. Hey, that's kind of interesting. So the oak is still the dominant note. And okay, so I'm going to say oak loads of times in this video, and I already have. That oak note is absolutely dominant the whole way through. But that water's brought out that peanut a little bit more. Yeah, just a plain, dry roasted peanut. Caramel is still there, the toffee's still there. I've lost the cherry. The cherry seems to have completely gone. There's still that little bit of vanilla, and there's still a tiny bit of that coconut going on as well. But the cherry's just completely dropped off. Right, let's go for a taste and see what's happened. Oh, do you know what? That's really good. So the drop of water has kind of toned down that oak note in there. And suddenly it's become a little bit more, I want to say kind of like bright and vibrant. So before, without the water, you had these big punches of that wood, that kind of real strong wood effect. But now you've got the water in it, it's still the dominant note, but now it's become a little bit more vibrant. It's a little less punchy. It's more vibrant, more, I want to say light, if that makes sense. Let's go back in. That peanut note is still there. The toffee, actually the toffee's kind of become a little bit more sweet. Almost like, instead of a hard toffee, like a soft toffee, become a little bit sweeter on the taste. Still no sign of that cherry. That cherry's completely gone now. And that vanilla note is still there, but it's now become a little bit more, like a raw vanilla almost, as opposed to the artificial vanilla flavouring. And on the back end of it, you've got a bit of a spice coming out. Not an alcohol burn, and it's not spicy as in hot and spicy food like chilies. It's like kitchen spices, like seasoning spices, and that could be the slightly higher content of rye over the barley. I mean, 13% compared to the 72% corn isn't a lot, but it could be bringing out a little bit more of spice on the back end with the water into it. Yeah, and actually now I've said that, I'm now picking it up on the nose a little bit more. It's really, do you know what, honestly, this is one of the hard ones to do. It's really hard to describe a rye spice. I think the best way you can imagine is, let's say you get one of those big like spice tins or something, and you open the top up and they're all open underneath. So you just get this waft of spices, and you can't necessarily pick out exactly what's going on, but you've just opened up the whole tub and everything's coming at once at you. That is a real nice bourbon. Yep, the peanut is still there, which must admit I'm finding interesting that I'm getting peanut on a bourbon. I wasn't expecting that one. But no, I really like it, it's really good. So I would say with Wild Turkey, it's more of an intro whiskey into bourbons, not to whiskey. It was more of an introduction whiskey into bourbon. Now, bourbon, because they're quite limited in what they can do because of the new oak and the above 51% corn rate, their flavour profile is quite narrow compared to, say, Scotch, where you can go from smoky to light and pretty kind of thing. So you've got quite a narrow profile. I would say where Wild Turkey lands, it lands in the higher wooden effect bourbons. Now, in my head, the two ends of the scale is dark, dense, woody, and sweet, cherry, yummy. Not that the dark, dense, woody isn't yummy, but to kind of get an idea. So I would say this is leaning more towards that wooden effect going on there. So if you're new to bourbon, if you're new to whiskey, and you're maybe looking for something a bit more sweeter, I maybe wouldn't necessarily recommend this one. But if somebody, I mean, I've had friends around and we've been trying bourbons, and this one and a couple of others are some that I always bring out because they're slightly more into that wood effect. I know one of my friends, that's what he looks for in a bourbon. He enjoys that in the bourbon. I enjoy it too, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I would make it an introduction one, but I would kind of give a caveat of what you're looking for in it. Let me know what you guys think, if you would disagree with me, if this isn't an entry bourbon, if you would recommend something else perhaps. I'd love to hear what you guys say. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and of course, cheers to you all.